Okay, so we hit F, then we hit Z. Alright, you're going to click on polygon mode, and you're going to want to select all the polygons. Marquee select, left click, marquee select all the polygons in this box. Everything's going to be selected. So click all the polygons up here before they start to twist. Okay, again, polygon selection mode's on. Left click, drag. Just get these polygons right here. You're going to hit E for rotate, or you can go to your rotate tool up here. You can turn off snaps because we don't need it right now, so hit S, or you can deselect it up here. And we're going to rotate our sphere so that it's straight with these lines. And we're going to do that. You see this is a rotating axis right here, this is a rotating axis right here, and this is a rotating axis right here, just like our scale and move. So as you can tell, this green, this blue, and this red is our X, this green is our Y, and this blue right here is our Z. So we're going to want to rotate it on our Z axis, on this blue axis right here. So again, on front mode, all you do is just hover over, click, left click, and you're going to drag just like that, and that looks good. You let go. Perfect. So if you look at our reference image, it has this ball here, so there's not really that much space between where it connects, and we kind of have like this little gap right here. So we're going to move our sphere down a bit so that we can get that same look. So again, if you click on polygon selection, it should still have all the polygons that you just previously selected. If not, you can just go and marquee select them again. With all your polygons selected, you just can pull it down a little bit like that, and there you go. Okay, we're almost done. We just have to make this center part right here. Okay, so F4 to see our edges. Now we have to make this center part. Now this is probably the trickiest part because it requires a few more steps, but that's okay. We're going to click on polygon mode, go into your front view, F, then hit Z. Now we're in our front view with our polygon mode selected. We're going to left click, marquee select, or you can click on one polygon, hold shift, and get this whole loop. Left click again, let go of shift, let go left click, and now we have this whole loop. We're going to want to detach it. So we just attached this sphere to this lantern. Now we want to detach this middle section from the rest of this. So we're going to, with our polygon selected, we're going to scroll down. Right next to attach, there's detach. So we're going to detach this. So just click detach, and it's going to come up with what I want to name this. Right now we'll just leave it at whatever it's going to default to. We don't have to detach it as an element or a clone, we're just going to detach it as a whole new object. So hit OK. Now you see it's its own separate object. When I click this, it's going to say object 001. When I click this, it's going to say cylinder 002. Okay, so now with this selected, we want to make these bars and these little glass panes, right? So first, if you look, this also has a bit of a curve to it, and so we're going to make that curve. So with our object 001 selected, you're going to click on edges. You're going to click on one edge and hit ring. You can marquee select as well, or you can click shift. It's supposed to work. Okay, guess not. Just click on one edge, hit ring. That'll select that entire ring. Hit connect. This little box next to connect. If you make a mistake and you just hit connect, that's fine. But if you ever make a mistake and you want to undo, so let's say I hit connect and I did 4 segments and I didn't want that, you can just hit Control Z. Remember to save often. I haven't been saving, so I need to, so I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to put it on my desktop. I'm just going to call it Lantern. So make a habit of saving often. Don't use me as an example because obviously I haven't been saving. So whenever you feel that you need to save, do it. I would probably save every 15 minutes or so. Macs should have autosave built in, so it'll autosave every hour, but you can modify that, and I can show that to you in class, how often you want it to autosave. Okay, so we have our object selected. Click on select the ring, and we're going to hit connect. We just want one segment right now, and we're going to hit the check mark. Okay, we want to bring this in a little bit. So we're going to scale it. So we hit R for scale, go into the center of our scale tool. It's going to scale it from uniformly from our X, Y, and Z. So the center is going to be highlighted. Left click and just drag in a little bit like that. Now with this edge still selected, this edge loop, you're going to click on the box next to chamfer, and we're just going to chamfer it out just a little bit like that. So all I was doing was messing with the amount on my chamfer. I have 2 segments here. I think 2 gives it a nice round feel, so we're going to use 2 segments and hit the check mark. That's what we want. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're building up this right here, this bar, and we're going to build these individual ones up too. So we're placing all of our edges where we're going to be extruding and beveling. So instead of modeling like a box here and then trying to get the curvature, we're going to use the curvature of what we already have modeled so that we can get a very flush look when it comes to these bars that are separating these glass panes. And it'll make more sense once we start to do that. So we have this center part made, right? We want to make the ones that are going vertical, and so we're going to do that by clicking on one edge like this. We're going to skip 2 edges, and then we're going to click the next edge. So we're going to click this edge, skip 2, 1, 2, hold Control, click this edge. We're going to rotate around by holding Alt, middle mouse click. These 2 edges are still selected. I've let go of Control. I'm going to skip 2 edges, 1, 2, hold Control, click the next edge. I let go of control, hold Alt, rotate around, 1, 2, click on control again, or hold control, click, let go of control. Then I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2, hold control, click, skip, 1, 2, hold control, click. So you should have an edge selected on by every 2 you're going to skip, and you're going to have an edge selected. So it should look something like this. Alright, now with that selected, you're going to hit ring, and it's going to select your entire ring. And we're going to hit connect again, the little box next to connect. So this time we want to have 2 segments. So click 2. This pinch, it brings these 2 edges closer or farther apart from each other. So let's drag that pinch up because we want to have a little bit more thickness. Right? And all slide does is it just slides them. Right? We don't want that. We just want to leave that at 0. So I put my pinch to 40. I feel like that's pretty good for what we want. So I hit the check mark. Okay. So we have our band across, and now we have our bands up here. So now this is where we start to extrude. So we're going to get out of edge mode. We're going to go into poly mode, and now we're going to select the polys we want to extrude. So we're going to click on this polygon right here, hold shift. I'm hovering over the next adjacent polygon. I'm still holding shift, left click. I selected that edge loop, or that loop of faces. I'm going to do the same thing up here, control, go to the next adjacent polygon. It should highlight that loop. I'm holding shift still, left click, let go of shift. And now we're just going to want to grab these guys right here too. So I'm holding control, click, I'm still holding control, click, I let go of control, I'm holding control again, click, holding control again, click, I let go of control, hold Alt, middle mouse click, rotate, and you're just going to rinse and repeat. Control, click, click, middle mouse click, control, click, click, middle mouse click, control, click, click, Alt, middle mouse click, control, click, click. Okay. So you should have something like this. And this is what we're building. Is that this right here. Okay. With this selected, now we're going to extrude. So in your edit polygons, where it says extrude, you're going to hit the settings box. And now we don't want this to extrude like this, right? We want it to extrude outwards. So we fix that by going from the setting right here. We click on this little drop arrow, click on that, and so we have 3 different settings. We have group, polygon, and local. So local is always going to extrude. Local normal is always going to extrude on its normal direction, and for me it just means it's going to extrude outwards always. So that's what we want. Polygon is going to extrude each polygon that we have selected, but we don't want that either. We want to choose local. So you see how it extruded out locally. That's what we want. But we don't want it out this far. So I just changed it from group right here to local. So just drag this down a bit. Alright, so now we have that first ring right here and these But if you notice, this is underneath these vertical. The horizontal is underneath the vertical ones, so we have to extrude the vertical ones out one more time. Okay, so we're satisfied with this. You hit the check mark. Now we just want to select the vertical pieces. So I'm just holding control and I'm clicking right here, these three or these four. I'm rotating around. I'm clicking these four. If you're having a hard time rotating using Alt and middle mouse click, you can also use this up here. This little gizmo up here in this corner can help you move around as well. You could even click on this side, like this is the right side, and so it'll move it in position to the right side, or you can left click and drag it and use that as the rotate, or you can click the top and that'll move you to the top. Is that off center? No, it's not off center. It's just how it looks. But it kind of puts you in like an orthographic view. Anyway, you can use that, or you can use Control R. Will give you this little way that you can rotate also. It's okay. I wouldn't suggest it all the time. Sometimes it comes in handy, but if you just want to rotate around and you feel like you're just going all over the place, you can hit Control R and you'll get another little rotate gizmo. So you can use Alt middle mouse click, you can use this up here, or you can use Control R, whichever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so now we select the rest of these. So I'm holding Control and I'm clicking, left clicking, Control, left clicking, Control, left clicking. Okay, so I have these selected. I'm going to hit extrude one more time on this little settings box, right? So I want these to go over this lip, just like that, right? By pushing out the height will give you more control over how far you want your extrude to go. So just look over where your lip is and you're just going to push it out just a bit over. And hit your check mark. Okay. Alright, so now that you see we have it similar to this one. Right. Okay. We're almost done. So what we want to do now is we want to extrude one more time, but we want to extrude this bottom portion. So I didn't extrude properly. I wanted this edge to be over here, but it's fine. Select this, these bottom polygons. So this one and this one. Just rotate around and just Control click to get these bottom polygons. This is what it looks like. We just want these. So what I just did, I went into isolation mode, and you can get into isolation mode by right clicking and just isolating what you have selected. So you see this is what we have selected right here. So sometimes it's kind of hard to see, you know, what you're selecting when you have other meshes in the way. So if you just want to isolate, you can just right click isolate selection. Okay. Alright. And then you just hit end selection whenever you want to get out. So we want to extrude. Hit the extrude button right here, and that's going to extrude these down a bit, which is what we want. Hit the check mark, and just for a little bit of detail, we're going to click on this edge, and we're going to click on this edge. So we're going to rotate around, control click, rotate around, control click, rotate around, control click, rotate around, control click, rotate around, control click. So we're going to select these edges right here, just these. I'm going to click ring because we want all of these selected. So click ring, and then click your little box next to connect. We want, instead of 2 segments, we want 1 segment, and we don't need a pinch. So you have 1 segment, the pinch and the slide should be 0. Hit your check mark. Now I just want this edge on each one, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull it down. So I'm just rotating and control clicking to get this one edge, just this one. And I'm going to go to my move tool, and I'm just going to pull it down on the Z-axis just a bit, just like that. Okay, look at there. Our lantern is almost done. Almost. So there's these little studs here, and we're going to put those in. Now, what we made here is we have these little crosses right here. That's where we're going to put our studs, is in these crosses. Okay? So we're going to make another sphere. Let's go back to our create. Go to sphere. So click on sphere. We don't need 18 segments for this, so you can go to segments and you can just make that 8. So just make 8 segments, click and drag out your sphere, and it's going to look like this. Convert it to an editable poly. Now while it's an editable poly, we're going to delete the bottom faces. So go to front view, hit F for front, hit Z, or you can just click here for your front view and hit Z. But F and Z is way faster. With your polygon selection mode on, click and drag, and we're just gonna delete these bottom ones right here. So click and drag, marquee select, everything in this box will be selected. You let go, everything that's red is what's selected, and we're just gonna hit the delete button, because all we're gonna use is this top portion. Okay? Okay. So let's get out of isolation mode. We want to rotate this stud 90 degrees, right? So I want it to be perfect 90, but you see here when I'm rotating it, it's giving me like 0.1. I want to do 45-degree angle snap when I'm rotating. So I can do that by turning on my angle snap, if I hit A, that'll turn on my angle snap. If I hit S, that turns on my my snap toggle, but we want A for my angle snap. And so if you look with this selected, you left click and you see it's giving me 15 degree increments, which is way more manageable because I know that I want 90 degrees, versus if I turn off my angle snap, it's giving me every single integer, but every single possible degree, but I want to rotate it 90. So I'm going to rotate it on my y-axis 90 degrees, which is this green axis right here. I want to rotate that 90. So I rotate it 90 degrees. It says 90. I let go. Okay. I turn on my move tool. I hit W to turn on my move tool. I turn on my snaps up here. You can just click that, and I'm going to move my stud to this point right here. Okay. So I'm going to grab it. You're going to see like this little, I want to have everything highlighted because I'm going to be moving it on all axes. So have everything highlighted. You're going to see this little circle. Just click. You're just going to drag it to this point right here. So left click, drag it. You're still holding left click, and then put it at the center of that cross. Okay. So this stud's way too big. We're going to scale it. So we're going to go to our scale tool, hit R, scale it down some. Okay, that's good. Hit rotate, and then we're just going to rotate it now on our Z axis about 30 degrees. I think that's fair. Okay, so now we have that stud here, but we need to put it on the rest of these. So I'm going to show you a really cool trick, and it's going to use our pivot. So we have this here. We want them to be all the way around, and we're going to do that by moving our pivot. So we do that by going to our hierarchy tab. So we have our create tab, our modify tab. We're going to go to our hierarchy tab. With our sphere selected, we're going to click Affect Pivot Only, and we're going to go to our coordinates down here. I'm going to right click on these arrows and make it 0. So now my pivot is at the center of the grid, exactly where my lantern is. Right? So the sphere and this lantern have the same pivot. You see this cursor does not move. It has the same pivot because it's both at 0, 0, 0. So this is at the center of the grid. I'm going to go to my rotate tool, and the same way that I can copy an object by moving it, see, by holding shift and then clicking and dragging, we're going to use the rotate tool to do the same thing. So I'm going to want to rotate on my z-axis, which is this one right here, this blue one, but right now it's yellow because it's highlighted. We're going to rotate, so we're going to hold shift, and then we're going to click on this rotational axis, and we're just going to pull it over like this. And you see it is going at the same curvature as our lantern because it's at the same, our pivot's in the same spot. So we're going to let go, and it's going to ask how many copies do we want. So before I do that, again, I have my sphere selected. I zeroed out my pivot. I had effect pivot only. I zeroed it out by having my move tool selected and just having all of these coordinates set to 0. I turn off my effect pivot only. I go to rotate. My sphere is still selected. I hold down shift and then I just click and drag on my y-axis on my rotation tool. Okay. That's in the center. I let go. It's going to ask me for how many copies. So I don't know how many of these I have around, but I'm going to make a guess. So I'm going to say 5. So it's going to make 5 of these are going to rotate around this axis. So let's click 5. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to have it under copy. So hit OK. And you see that? It copied it all the way around. Flawlessly. And if we want to, we can go ahead and connect this or attach this back to our lantern. So we selected our object, go to attach, select our lantern. Now our lantern is attached to this, and then we can go ahead and also attach all of these spheres. And there you go. So you kind of see some weird stuff going on right here. These are called smoothing groups. We're not going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about that at another time. But what you can do just to fix if you have anything that looks like this, with your lantern selected, click on your modify list, type in SM, you want to go to smooth, click smooth, and don't freak out if it looks like this. Just click this little tab right here that says, or this little button that says auto smooth, and it'll smooth everything out for you. I'm going to collapse that because I don't need it anymore, and there you go. Your lantern's finished. So if you want to go in and just chamfer some stuff, you can. You can just select these edges and do like a little bit of a chamfer to give it some roundness. You can. That's fine. And there you go. Your lantern's complete. Alright, I hope this was helpful. If you have any additional questions or you ran into any problems while making this, just send me an email or just catch me before or after class on Monday and we can talk about it. Alright, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you at class.